Hello and welcome to the SMEFocus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm your guest host again this week. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. Today I'm helping carry on the great work this show does in supporting the SME and manufacturing sectors. And my guest today is James Curley of Growth Panel. They're a broker and lead generation service dedicated to solar energy. Hi James, welcome to SMEFocus.
Hello, Mark. Lovely to meet you today.
Cool. A lead generation service or a brokerage is perhaps not a service that well known or maybe that well understood to people. So should we kick off by asking, what does Growth Panel do and what do you do at Growth Panel?
Absolutely, that's absolutely fine. So us at Growth Panel, what we do is we help SMEs and businesses throughout the UK find clever and ingenious ways to adopt solar energy through various finance agreements, predominantly through power purchase agreements, which is a free capital way to have solar panels installed in your commercial premises. And we help those particular companies find access to the funders who are able to offer that service as another viable way of financing solar panel installation.
Okay. A lot of our audience are SME manufacturers, but that encapsulates a wide range of things. So it can be small businesses in terms of their energy consumption, or it could be much bigger users of electricity. What suggestions, recommendations, what opportunities do you see for those kind of companies or that range of companies?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it really depends on the size and the energy consumption of the business, and dependent on that, what finance option would be best for them. We typically find that for the funders and for the businesses alike, that the larger systems are normally more suitable for a power purchase agreement rather than anything, but it is dependent on their own financial situation, whether they have the capital expense to invest into the solar themselves or whether they would like to have another option presented to them. Our funder would normally work with systems that are 150 kilowatt as a minimum for a power purchase agreement. But then for lower than that, anything other than a power purchase agreement, such as asset finance or seasonal asset finance, or just, as I said, capital expenditure, would be perfectly fine for them to do that. But it does vary from business to business as what's most suitable. But the main funder and the only funder that we work with currently as an introducer for them, they offer a one-stop shop for all of the financial services available for commercial solar. So they're a really good outfit to go to for various options, and they can work with you, hold their hand, and basically find the best option for them, whether that might be a power purchase agreement, whether that's asset finance, or whether that's a capital expenditure. But I think it's just that breadth of options that a business might want to review before they take any substantial investment or time into a project such as commercial solar panel installation.
Would there be a typical lower size that would be a common thing, trying to scope if SME manufacturers were sitting there and they've got an idea of how much electricity they use? Where would you say is a common small, where is a high, trying to explain the fit to them maybe?
Yeah, so I think it's probably best to explain it in pure monetary terms. So I think if you're spending over £10,000 per month on energy, then a power purchase agreement would be a really good option, and probably would be good to give some context as to what a power purchase agreement is rather than not. So a power purchase agreement is, as I briefly mentioned, a zero capital expense way of installing commercial solar onto the rooftop or the land around a business premises. Because it's fully funded, it's the ownership of the funder. And so there's no liability for the maintenance and operations of the system for the actual end user. The energy generated from the panels is then sold back to the end customer, but because it's renewable energy, it's normally around about 50% cheaper than the grid rate. So for example, a common grid rate for electricity for maybe an SME or a manufacturing unit would be between 22 pence per kilowatt hour to 30 pence per kilowatt hour, depending on their tariff. Usually a PPA for that type of spend could potentially come in around about 12p, but it is variable depending on sort of the energy usage and the prices being paid from there. So it's a really good, significant and substantial saving from there. And normally the power purchase agreement terms run across the period of between 20 to 25 years. So from a cumulative savings perspective of saving that much money every single year and over the course of 20 years as well, it really represents a significant financial savings for any business that would be willing to adopt something like that. Not to mention the green credentials that come with installing commercial solar as well, hitting those net zero targets and ESG goals, depending on what type of industry you're in as well. So I think as an overview of power purchase agreements, that's how it mainly works from there. But from a sense of if they're spending between, let's call it 2,500 to 7,500 per month on energy, then perhaps an asset finance type of arrangement or capex arrangement would be beneficial for them as well. And I think from a pure monetary spend, the bigger the system, the more likely a PPA would be. But again, dependent on the financial situation of the business and how much they're willing to invest capital expenditure wise, the variety of options is really beneficial from there.
Okay. I guess more generally across the market, there's a bit of a reluctance to make change or investment at the moment. There's obviously a new government in place, lots of concern about what the budget might have in store, and technology changes coming through in solar. What do you feel is around the corner? What comments do you have, I guess, maybe on people putting off until later for solar installations?
Yeah, I think it's really important that people understand that it's really crucial to make your decisions sooner rather than later, because often these things are better when they're addressed sooner. Even just having a conversation rather than actually trying to force through panels on roofs, even having a conversation and understanding the reason why you should do it better and sooner is more important than anything else. So I think with what we've seen over the past 4 to 5 years, with the fluctuation of energy prices, the changing of governments and everything like that, what you need is more security when it comes to the generation of your electricity, where it's generated from. So for me, I think power purchase agreements are going to take a really, really crucial role in the development of net zero targets for commercial entities across the UK. I really think having that security of term between 20 to 25 years and that security of energy prices for 20 to 25 years, because they are fixed at a certain rate with only a 3% indexation of inflation as well. So they're a really, really strong way to anchor yourself with energy security, which I think is really important, especially with the general geopolitical world that we live in at the minute. A lot of changes going on, a lot of uncertainty as well. So I think having that lack of doubt when it comes to the generation of your energy, particularly from a commercial perspective, if you are spending quite heavily on commercial energy, that's really important to understand as well. And I think working with a funder such as Eden Sustainable, who we are working as an introducer with, B Corp company, really, really well-established company, really great credentials, great team, great presence in the market. I've been working in PPAs for over a decade now. It's been a pleasure working with them from an introducer's perspective. And I would encourage anyone who's looking into power purchase agreements to consider working with Eden and having a conversation with them, because it really does bring light to the fact that energy shouldn't be difficult, it should be simple, and it should be good working with a company who can help with the energy challenges that every business will eventually face when it comes to their commercial energy.
Okay. Instead of talking 20 years, let's talk much shorter terms. What are your plans for coming months for yourself, for the company? What's going on?
Yeah, so for the coming months, we're really looking to introduce as many projects to Eden Sustainable as possible, and helping as many SMEs as possible with the deployment of solar over the next coming months and over into 2025 as well. So really, we just want to be having those good conversations with businesses where they're willing to have a conversation about their energy needs, their energy demands, and basically just trying to grow the relationships between SMEs and Eden Sustainable for ourselves, and basically growing that pipeline so we can do as much as possible to secure as many panels being deployed across the UK, and really just try and help address those net zero challenges that a lot of SMEs will be facing either now or in the coming months or in the coming years. But as I said previously, it's best to address it now and have a conversation now. So then the work done in the next few months will benefit you in the years to come. So yeah, that'll be the goals over the next few months, I would say.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for your time, James. I will say for the viewers out there. If you want to get in touch with the show, if you've got a comment or suggestion, or most importantly, if you'd like to in a future episode, please email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. From me, Mark Weymouth, Plus Automation. Cheers. Have fun.